Hi gang, we are here, the first video for chapter 13. This is going to be for sections 13.1 and 13.2, and we are getting into meiosis in this chapter, which will eventually get confused with mitosis for you at some point in your brain with what's going on. But anyway, the big question to start on this chapter is why do we have to have it's another type of cell division just like mitosis was. So like, what's the problem? Why wasn't mitosis good enough to take care of all cell divisions is the big question. So if we just draw out a world, if there was a world where all there was mitosis, then if we do a quick review of mitosis in humans, we have 46 chromosomes, whoopsies, 46 chromosomes, this isn't going so well, 46 chromosomes that look like that. Okay, it's got two chromatids, and through mitosis, we split that into two cells, and each of them have 46 chromosomes that look like this. Okay, no big deal. Each of them have 46 chromosomes that look like this. That's a 6. Still, anyway, that's 6. So that is the mitosis. Okay, this is great for like your entire body. Here's the limitation with this. Let's just say that what we were producing here with this mitosis, let's just say that what we were producing were sperms. So let's just, there we go, we got some tails here. So this is sperm, and let's go through sexual reproduction here. Sexual reproduction, where if we did the same thing, 46 chromosomes that look like that, and now we're going to make eggs like this, 46 chromosomes that have one chromatid, because that's what we do in mitosis. We would end up taking a sperm, taking an egg, fusing the two of these. This is fertilization. Okay, and we would end up with a cell that has 92 chromosomes that look like this. And that's a big, big problem. Okay, so then those chromosomes, 92 chromosomes that look like that, we'd go into interphase. Those chromosomes would make a copy of each chromatid, and then let's put a centromere here in the middle there. There we go. Make a copy of each chromatid, and anyway, and then you'd have an individual that would grow from this cell, and it would become 2 cells eventually. They had 92 chromosomes like that, and then they'd become 4 cells, and eventually you get an adult with 92 chromosomes in every cell, and that just doesn't work. Lots of reasons, but we'll just say that that's a whole lot of extra chromosomes. A disorder that has 1 extra chromosome is Down syndrome has 1 extra chromosome, so you can imagine 92 extra chromosomes isn't quite going to cut things for the next generation. So that's if mitosis was our only thing. So we're going to find meiosis, kind of the goal here, is going to be to take, when we're producing sperm or egg, to take our 46 chromosomes that look like this. We want to cut that number in half and get 23 chromosomes in a couple different cells. If that was the sperm, grow a tail there, tail there. Let's make an egg to kind of cut through this. Here's our egg with 23 chromosomes. You can kind of see the picture. Fertilization here, we have a new zygote is the term for the fertilized egg, and you got 46 chromosomes, and now we're back to the number that we were supposed to begin with. So that is the why we need a new type of cell division. We need a cell division that's going to do this, going to cut us from 46 down to 23, cut the chromosome number in half, and if we can do that, then we can maintain generation after generation of humans with 46 chromosomes. Okay, before we proceed into the entire concept of meiosis, we need to, there's a whole bunch of terminology. If we're going to have some cells that in humans have 23 chromosomes and some have 46, anyway, we have to come up with terminology rather than just having to say 23 and 46 all the time. One of the reasons for that is because other animals, other than humans, don't have 23 and 46 chromosomes. So we need to come up with a term that means all of their chromosomes and a term that means half their chromosomes. And anyway, so I got a list of terms over here on the right side, and I don't know that I'm going through them in that order, but right here I've got a picture of something called a karyotype. This thing is a karyotype. And what a karyotype is, if they take a normal body cell, and a normal body cell, take that as it's in prophase of mitosis, take a snapshot of all the chromosomes, and then go through and do a bunch of dyeing of the chromosomes, and they can go through our 46 chromosomes, and what they find is the 46 chromosomes, it actually looks like there's 2 of each type of 23 types of chromosomes. So like there's 2 that if we look at the banding pattern with the colors and everything, the banding pattern is the same on this chromosome as it is here, with the pink being this large and the centromere being right there. And this is an entire chromosome right here. One thing that happens when people look at these karyotypes is sometimes they think, hey, this is a chromatid and this is a chromatid, and they don't realize that this is actually 2 chromatids that are very close together. The centromere would be about right there. It actually might be up here a little bit further. Anyway, and this is another 2 chromatids. These are 2 separate chromosomes, but they happen to look alike. Same thing with the number 2 here. There's 2 number 2s, 2 number 3s, and so forth. If we count the numbers, it comes all the way down here to number 22, and there's 2 of number 22, so that would be 44 chromosomes, and then there's kind of an odd pair here that just has an X underneath the one and a Y underneath the other, and those are our 23rd pair of chromosomes to make 46. Now, this little odd pair here that doesn't get a number, we call those the sex chromosomes. This one right here, the sex chromosomes. And the sex chromosomes, they determine gender. This individual has an X chromosome, that's the big one, and a little bitty Y chromosome here. That's the small one. That would be a male. If it was a female, it would be a large X chromosome and another large X chromosome. But basically the presence or absence of a Y determines gender. If you have a Y chromosome, you'll be a male. If you do not have the Y chromosome, you'll be a female. All the rest of those, those 44 other chromosomes, they're all called autosomes. Okay, those are the non-gender determining chromosomes. Are all of those other sets. Okay. But what we see here is that we've basically got 23 types of chromosomes, types 1 through 22, and then the sex chromosomes. So 23 types of chromosomes. When I look at this cell, or any cell in your body or any animal's body other than reproductive cells, any cell is going to have 2 sets of chromosomes. 2 sets of chromosomes. In our case, in humans, it's 2 sets of 23. Okay, and the way that works out is you got one set of 23 from your mom, 1 set of 23 from your dad, and so you have 2 sets. A cell that has 2 sets of chromosomes is called a diploid cell or a diploid cell. You could think of it as meaning 2 sets. Okay, is diploid. If I look at, and this is every cell in your body, with the exception of reproductive cells, we would call those somatic cells. Okay, somatic cells, again, every cell in your body, other than reproductive. By reproductive, I mean either sperm or eggs, depending on gender there, are diploid. So somatic cells, diploid. The reproductive cells, our term for those are gametes, the sperm or the eggs. Would be gametes, and those gametes are going to be haploid cells, meaning of these pairs of chromosomes, they're each going to only have 1 of each. So 1 number 1, 1 number 2, 1 number 3, 1 number 4, and so on, so that a gamete has 1 of each type. And then another gamete, so the sperm would have 1 of each type, the egg would have 1 of each type, put them together, and then you will have an individual that has 2 of each type. These terms, haploid and diploid, very, very, very important, okay, that you get those down. Last term here then is homologs, okay, or homologous. If we have 2 chromosomes that when I look at them, they look the same, okay, they are homologs. They look the same, and they actually code for the same genes. So any particular gene, maybe this one, has the gene, and you can't see the black line there, but do it this way, has the gene for, I don't know, bushy eyebrows, we'll say, bushy eyebrows, and that gene is right there, okay, that's its locus is what we'd call it. Then this chromosome here would also have the bushy eyebrow gene. Now this chromosome might mean that you have non-bushy eyebrows, and this one means you have extra bushy, and there might be another version out there that's unibrow or something like that, but that eyebrow gene is right there, and every single chromosome 1 on every single human would have the eyebrow bushiness gene right there. Okay, it's kind of an awkward thing. Anyway, okay, that's that. The next thing I wanted to show you is just another version of this as far as showing these things. Pull this up here. This is huge. Shrink it down if I can. There we are. Okay. This is a cell that is causing a problem here. This is a cell that is a diploid cell, and this would be one just with the haploid and diploid thing. Where with haploid and diploid, what we do is we say that 2N represents diploid, okay, and N represents haploid. So for this cell that has 6 chromosomes and it is diploid, we would say that this is a cell where 2N equals 6, okay, and N would equal 3, okay, this diploid cell. And just to circle here real quick, these 2 chromosomes would be homologs, these 2 chromosomes would be homologs, these 2 would be homologs, and the different colors, the red and the blue, that would mean of this homolog, one came from the paternal, or the mom, excuse me, the dad, and one came from maternal, the red would be from the mom. Okay, so we'll pause there and we'll go to the next thing. Okay, now that we've talked about the different haploid and diploid and things like that, now we're going to get into the reproductive cycle, or the life cycle of organisms, starting out with humans and other animals, and then going through plants, and then even simpler plants than that. So starting out here, if we are looking at humans, and sorry for these, I don't know, there's like semi-pornographic diagrams here, kind of a joke, haha. Anyway, our reproductive cycle is going to basically be we are diploid organisms. Everything about us is diploid, and everything happens through mitosis. Then that mitosis, the only exception is that meiosis can happen here in the gonads, either the testes or the ovaries. Meiosis happens to produce individual cells that are haploid, so we have our gametes here that are haploid. Then fertilization happens, brings us back to a diploid state, and then that diploid zygote goes through a whole lot of mitosis to make a couple trillion cells. That is us, okay, as the adults. If we were to generalize that to all animals, then we have the larger organism is a diploid organism. Meiosis happens to produce haploid gametes. Haploid gametes then fertilize to produce a single cell zygote, and then mitosis goes on. Basically, the only multicellular thing in us and other animals is all diploid, all the multicellular parts. Okay, so if we compare that to plants, then. Okay, here's our plants, and the one on the left here, and I should write this in, but the one on the left is plants for the most part, and some algae. But anyway, they're just slightly different, where again, the majority of the organism that you're looking at is going to be diploid, so we have our diploid organism here, and it's going to go through meiosis to make what we call spores, and you guys would think of these as eggs and pollen if we were looking at larger plants, but the kind of the hang up there, the difference there is we're going to actually go through a little bit of mitosis. We're going to take this haploid cell and it's going to go through some mitotic divisions, and we're going to get groups of cells, or groups of nuclei actually, but it's going to be multicellular, and we call it a gametophyte. Okay, multicellular gametophyte that is then going to, and that was made by mitosis of the haploid cells. And as a gametophyte, then that gametophyte is going to produce gametes. Those gametes will fuse, through fertilization, and we get a single cell zygote, and then mitosis gets us our larger organism again. But the huge difference here is this this mitosis that's happening in the spores. So we have haploid cells that are going through mitosis. Okay, so that's those. Now, I'm going to move myself over here a little bit, if I can. Oh, it won't let me move it. I'm going to have to pause the recording here for a second and pick up on another page. Okay, last life cycle here. Actually, the previous life cycle was in the normal plant that you would think about, and those haploid cells, the multicellular haploid cells, that's happening somewhere inside of the flower. You wouldn't even know that you would see those haploid cells. Then this last set, and I got 1 minute to explain it, is in most fungus and mosses, protists. Anyway, up here we have some moss, and the majority of the body of the moss that you would typically think about, that is haploid actually, okay? So we have haploid, the larger organism is haploid, and it is going to go through mitosis to produce gametes. We call this the gametophyte, and the regular part of the cell is a gametophyte. It's going to go through mitosis and produce Gametes will fertilize and make a zygote. So that single zygote is immediately going to go through meiosis and then produce haploid cells again. Okay, the zygotes, or the called the sporophyte, is actually these little pods that come out of the top here. Those are the sporophyte pods. Anyway, I got 3 seconds, so have a good night. I want to thank Taco here for being with me.